What does a successful software engineer look like? Is it someone who writes flawless code, builds great apps, maybe fixes tough bugs? Well, here's the uncomfortable truth for you. If that's all you do as a software engineer, you'll always be working on somebody else's vision. And I learned this the hard way. You see, I rose from a junior developer to a manager in just 3 years, outpacing peers with decades of experience. But even with my rapid climb, I realized that something was wrong. I wasn't working for myself. I was stuck inside somebody else's box. So I quit and I bet on myself. And fast forward to today, I run a 7-figure B2B consulting firm, and I'm here to share the key mindset shift that I unlocked during this growth. And spoiler alert, it's not about knowing every programming language, and it's definitely not about knowing every single framework. It's actually all about learning to think like an entrepreneur. In this video, I'll show you the 3 entrepreneurial traits that can future-proof your career and put you in control of your future. So let me ask you this. How often have you worked tirelessly on a project? You hit all your deadlines, you did everything you were supposed to do, and you still watched the project fail. It's frustrating, isn't it? Well, that was me early in my career. I remember working on a business continuity management system for a healthcare company. I can't quite say who due to an NDA, but my role was pretty much to write the code, configure the scripts, and pretty much tick all the technical boxes I needed to. At the time, I was only a junior developer. And I did my job. Pretty by the book, I would even say. Overtime hours, back-to-back tasks, and no overtime pay. And on paper, I was crushing it. But something still felt off to me. The project was failing. The stakeholders weren't happy with the overall result and believed that the project as a whole lacked impact. So I started asking the bigger questions. Why aren't the stakeholders happy with this project? What would happen if the systems failed during an emergency? What's actually critical to keep operations running for the healthcare company? And how will their teams rely on this specific system that we're building for them? And when I asked these questions, they changed everything. I took ownership of the entire project, not just my own tasks. I worked across teams to identify mission-critical systems, implement real-time data application, and design a centralized dashboard for emergencies. The result? A solution that worked even during a regional power outage. You see, I learned that ownership isn't about doing extra work. Sure, you might have to in specific cases, but it really at its core, it's about seeing the bigger picture. When you take ownership at every single project you do, you stop being just another engineer. You start becoming a leader. But what happens, let's say, when you're handed a project with 0 instructions, 0 roadmap, and no clear endpoint, which, believe it or not, is pretty common for a software engineer? Well, it's like building a puzzle without the picture on the box. Most people freeze. They wait for somebody to hand them the answers. And entrepreneurs don't wait. They get creative. When I started my consulting firm, I didn't have a guide. My first product, which was a SaaS, was a tool to help small businesses track customer trends. And it was a complete disaster. I mean, I overcomplicated it, I added way too many features that nobody really asked for, and I didn't make any money off of it. Then I stopped guessing. I started listening to users, I simplified the product, and I relaunched it, but this time with a hybrid of a service model as opposed to a regular SaaS. And this time, it worked. The tool didn't just sell, it became a consistent revenue stream for years, even to this day. So being resourceful means starting with what you have, experimenting, and trusting the process. It's all about progress over perfection. And last but not least, let me ask you this. Are you creating or are you just building what somebody else is asking for? Because here's the key difference. Builders follow orders. Creators solve problems. Creators bring ideas to life that didn't exist before. And as engineers, we're wired to solve problems. But being a creator requires something more: empathy and adaptability. When I built my consulting business, I focused not just on technical solutions, but on solving real-world problems for clients, problems that had specific pain points. And the key in all this? Well, I kept learning from my failures, iterating on my services, and actually focusing on generating and creating value for my customers. So understand this, creators don't just write code. They write their own future, truthfully. And you actually have everything you need to succeed when it comes to the tools that you have. You can already solve problems as a software engineer, you can build systems, and you can think logically. But if you want to go beyond just being an engineer, understand that your mindset is not all you need. You actually need to build your own vision, which I would even say will completely shift your mindset as well.
What's the one thing that separates successful software businesses from the ones that fail?
Well, I can tell you it's not funding, a groundbreaking product,
or even technical talent. It's something far more foundational, a vision. You see, without a vision, you're like a ship without a compass. Sure, you might be working hard, even making progress, but you'll always struggle to stay on course or achieve any meaningful results. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a vision that not only drives your software business forward, but also inspires others to follow you. So let me start with this. Every single great business starts with a vision. Think of Elon Musk and SpaceX. Elon's vision isn't to just build rockets because they look cool. It's to make life multiplanetary. Or think of Google. The company's vision isn't to just build better SEO advertising tools, where a majority of revenue actually comes from. It's to organize the world's information and make it universally available and accessible. So that's what drives the company forward. It's bold, it's inspiring, and it's pretty crystal clear. So the same is true for software businesses, whether you're building an app, a SaaS product, or an enterprise solution. Because without a vision, you're left chasing trends, making reactive decisions in a marketplace, and struggling to really stand out in a very crowded market. But here's the good news. Creating a vision doesn't actually require you to be a billionaire or even a world-famous founder. You just need to follow 3 steps, and I'll walk you through each of them right now. So every vision starts with the first step, and that is one question. Why? Why are you doing this? Why does your business exist? Simon Sinek said it best. He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's because your why, in this case, is the emotional core of your business. I often talk about how people are sold both emotionally and logically. And most of us have the logical side of things, but we like the emotion. And the emotion, it's what motivates us. It's what drives our decisions. And it's actually what connects us to our customers. And this resonance that we create with our customers is what turns the company into a brand. So let me share a personal example. When I first started AB Analytics, my why wasn't just to help businesses make more money. It was about empowering specifically small and medium-sized businesses to actually understand their data and make way better decisions, from the tools that we built to the way we communicated with our clients. It wasn't just about providing a service. It was about solving a deeper problem that we genuinely, as a company, cared about. So ask yourself, what's your why? It doesn't have to be world-changing, like making life multiplanetary, like Musk. It doesn't have to be as revolutionizing as, creating the entire internet library like Google. It just has to be meaningful enough to inspire you and resonate with your specific audience. Once you've defined your why, the next step is to turn it into clear and bold vision statement. Think of your vision statement as the guiding light for your specific business. It should inspire, focus, and align your team. When I first launched AB Analytics, I remember telling people I help businesses grow, but that wasn't specific or bold enough to really stand out in the crowded marketplace that I was. So we had to refine our vision into something much sharper to what it is now today. Data-driven insights for smarter decisions. And that shift didn't just inspire the team, but it also attracted a lot of investors, partners, and customers who actually believed in the same mission that we did. It was short, quick, and to the point. And that's exactly what a great vision statement is. It's clear, specific, and in some cases, aspirational. So it's all about understanding that it's not about where you are today, but it's more about where you want to go and why that specifically matters. Because that's how your audience will not only resonate with you, but also why your team will work just as hard for your company as they would for their own. And actually, that's where most people get stuck. They create too bold of a vision, and they don't connect it to any actionable steps. You see, a vision without execution is just a dream, right? So let's say that your vision is to create the most intuitive project management tool for remote teams, let's say. It's just something off the top of my head. Sure, that's inspiring, but what does it actually mean in practice? What features will you prioritize for these teams? How will your product evolve to kind of reflect that specific vision? For AB Analytics, our vision included empowering businesses to make data-driven decisions. That was the core of our vision. And to achieve that, we created a system that didn't just show clients their data, but it literally translated it into insights they could actually act on immediately. So every single feature that we built, every single integration that we added was all tied back to that same vision. Data-driven insights for smarter decisions. So your goals should act as a stepping stone to bring your vision to life. You need to break your vision down into smaller milestones and make sure that every single project, every single feature, or every single initiative that you take on moves you closer and closer to that larger purpose as a whole. Because here's the honest truth. Without a clear vision, even the most talented teams will eventually lose focus. But when you actually define your why, you craft a bold vision statement, and you back it up with actionable goals, you create a business that's not only successful, but it's actually meaningful and will stand the true test of time. So remember, ownership, resourcefulness, and creativity are critical to adopting an entrepreneurial mindset. But afterwards, what's truly going to keep you alive and focused, motivated, and actually moving forward, it's going to be your vision. But even with your vision in mind, you need to know how to turn it into a product. Did you know that 90% of software startups fail? Not because that the founders didn't work hard or the product was unpolished, but because they solved the wrong problem. Here's the harsh truth. In software, effort doesn't guarantee you success. You can build a great product with flawless code, but if it doesn't solve an actual problem that people care about, it won't make a difference. So if you want to create a software business that's not just innovative, but also profitable, you need to master the skill of spotting the right problems to solve. And in this video, I'll show you exactly the red flags to look out for and how to spot them such that people will actually pay you for the problem that you solve. So let's start with this. Every single great software business solves a real problem. Think of Slack. It didn't just begin as a messaging tool. It started as an internal solution for a gaming team actually struggling to communicate effectively. That same team realized that their chat tool solved a much bigger problem than the game that they were actually building. And today, Slack is a multi-billion-dollar business. I mean, the same is true for Airbnb. They didn't just create an app for finding places to stay for people. No, when they first started off, they solved the problem that a majority of travelers face at the time, the struggle to find affordable, authentic accommodations while helping homeowners make money from unused space. So two birds with one stone. So the pattern here is quite clear. Successful businesses identify problems that people desperately need to solve. And spotting the right problem is the foundation for any profitable software business. But here's the thing, it's not about guessing or following trends. It's all about uncovering real pain points. The first step to spotting profitable pain points is to look for what I call friction. Friction happens when people are wasting time, energy, or money because existing solutions don't work quite well or don't exist at all. So I want you to imagine a scenario where you're walking down a busy street filled with potholes, and every single step that you take is frustrating and slow because you have to watch out so you don't step in a pothole. That frustration, well, that's what we call friction. And when there's friction, there's always an opportunity to actually create a smoother path. In other words, there's a problem that you can actually solve. At AB Analytics, we worked with an e-commerce client who was frustrated by their ad performance. They were using multiple tools to actually track all their results, but none of them quite worked well with each other. And instead of having a clear view of their campaigns, they were wasting a significant amount of hours every single week piecing together reports manually from all these different sources. It was very slow, inefficient, and, to be honest, quite unreliable. And worst of all, it was costing them thousands of dollars in lost ad spend and potentially in revenue. So the stakes were high enough that they were actually eager to invest in a solution to nip this in the bud as soon as possible. And when we started off, we built a tool that actually integrated their data and provided it actionable insights in seconds. And within a quarter, they were able to reduce their wasted ad spend by 30%. And I'm not even accounting on the amount of revenue that they added on top of that. So that's the kind of problem that people are actually willing to pay to fix. The more urgent and costly the problem, the more valuable your solution becomes. And with this, it actually takes us to our next point. Before you jump into solving a problem, there's something even more important to consider. And it's that not all friction points are created equal, meaning not all of them will lead to profitability. And speaking of profitability, you need to understand that a profitable business doesn't just fix what's frustrating. It actually solves real problems that have real financial or emotional stakes. And this pitfall has been made by millions of people. And I've personally even seen this mistake being done many times. A friend of mine who happens to be a developer, he got excited about an idea because it sounded extremely cool. And he ended up digging himself into an early grave. He spent months building a budgeting app because he thought that people wanted to spend smarter. And when he launched it, nobody bought it, not a single person. Why? Well, because people weren't willing to actually pay for something that they could do for free on a spreadsheet or could use a free app that was already on the App Store. So that's the key difference between a nice to have and a must have. So if you want to build a profitable business, you need to focus on the must-haves that people actually have problems with. But here's the catch. Even if you find the right kind of problem, you still have to ask yourself one very crucial question. Am I equipped to solve this problem? Here's what I mean. Not every problem is yours to solve. The best opportunities actually lie at the intersection of real pain points being faced by your customers and your unique advantage. So it could be the combination of your physical location, your network, and your experiences. Think of it like building a house. If you're an expert at framing and roofing, you'll add the most value working on the structure of the house, not struggling to figure out the plumbing, right? So you need to ask yourself, what problems am I uniquely equipped to solve? And when you focus on problems that align with your expertise, your physical location, and your network, you don't just create solutions, you create confidence and trust in your own business. So spotting profitable problems comes down to three things. Look for friction where people are actually wasting time, energy, or money. Solve problems for people willing to actually pay for a solution, and focus on problems that you are personally equipped to solve. And when you align these three principles, you don't just create software, you begin creating actual value that people will pay for. And that value is what will drive the profitability of your business. So here's the connection from the last video. Your vision is the compass, and spotting the right problems is the map that shows you how to get there. But even if you have the map to get to where you need to go, you still need to know how to properly maneuver around all the waves and tides coming your way. Did you know that most software businesses don't fail because they build bad products, but rather they fail because they solve problems that nobody's actually willing to pay for? Imagine spending months crafting a solution only to make zero money at launch. What if I told you that there's a proven way to avoid that and create solutions customers will not only use, but will happily pay for every single time? In this video, I'm sharing a 3-step framework to consistently create solutions that solve real problems and generate measurable value. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to pinpoint problems worth solving, validate ideas before you build, and deliver results that your customers simply can't live without. And this is the same exact process that I personally used to scale my company to 7 figures. Now, most businesses fail from the very first step because they start with what can we build instead of what problems should we solve. Remember, customers do not buy ideas. They buy solutions to their most pressing problems. They're never buying into your product. They're buying out of their situation. At AB Analytics, we worked with a business owner who wanted a custom dashboard to track website metrics. Now, their quote-unquote problem was that their team didn't even understand the data that they already had. So instead of building a flashy dashboard, we reframed the problem because we actually understood what the core problem was, and we developed a tool that actually translated the raw data that they had into clear, actionable insights that they could use. And it didn't just display numbers. I mean, it recommended what to do next. And the result? Well, it was phenomenal. A daily driver tool that became indispensable to their own operations and something that they happily, even to this day, renew every single year and pay us on a retainer. So to uncover the right problems, you need to ask yourself a few questions. Number 1, what's the biggest pain point? Number 2, why does a specific pain point even matter? And number 3, what happens if this pain point isn't solved? What are the long-term consequences? Get into the habit of digging deeper and deeper. Customers will often describe symptoms, but your job is to actually diagnose and uncover the root cause. And now that we've nailed down the right problem, let's talk about avoiding the biggest mistake that business owners usually make. What would happen if you launched a rocket without testing the fuel? Well, it would be pretty risky and catastrophic, right? And that's exactly what it's like building without validation. Before you invest in any type of development, you need proof that your solution is viable. My first ever SaaS product, 6 months of coding went into it, a polished UI, and dozens of features that I thought were literally genius. But at launch, literally nothing happened. 0 sales. I didn't have a person willing to try it out for free when I got desperate, because I never actually validated if people needed what I was building. I just simply thought it was a cool idea and I wanted to build it. So here are 3 simple validation techniques that you can use yourself to validate and make sure that your actual solution is something people want for. Customer interviews. Talk to 5 to 10 potential users. Ask about their pain points and current solutions that they're already using. Number 2, prototyping. Actually create a mock prototype, what I call an MVP, a minimum viable product, with one core feature. And then pre-sales. Offer a very basic version or a related service. And if they're willing to pay now, then your idea is solid. And what I would even recommend is urge you to actually take their money from the very beginning. Whoever says they're willing to pay, ask them to give you like $5 or $10, because that's at least enough of a validation and they can put their money where their mouth is. And with validation in place, now your solution, you know that it delivers actual tangible and measurable value. Because understand that customers don't actually pay for features, they pay for results. It's your features that get those results. So your solution must provide clear, measurable value that they can see and feel. Okay, see and feel. One of our most successful tools at AB Analytics was a campaign optimizer for marketing teams. And it didn't just display metrics. It identified wasted ad spend, recommended reallocations, and actually projected ROI improvements on where they should actually put in their budget for the ads. And customers loved it because it saved them literally tons of money and increased profitability by a significant amount. So here's to actually deliver tangible value to your customers. You need to define success metrics. What results will your customers achieve? You need to also create feedback loops. You need to ensure that your solution consistently delivers those results. It's not a one-time fluke. And of course, you need to start testing for results. You need to pilot your solution to ensure that it actually lives up to its promises. And now that you know the framework, let's tie it all together and actually look ahead 5 to 10 years into the future. So if we want to create solutions that our customers will pay for every single time, we just start with a problem that's worth solving, validate our idea before building, and deliver measurable value that our customers simply cannot ignore because they can see and feel it. And when you master these 3 steps, you're not just building products, you're creating solutions that customers love and businesses rely on. But here's the thing, having a great solution still isn't quite enough. To truly thrive, you need the right vehicle to deliver your solution to your clients. As a software engineer, you know how to build. But when it comes to the thought of starting your own business, it may seem extremely daunting at first. Even worse, there's a tough question that you don't even know the answer to. Do you launch a service-based agency, like an AI agency or like an AI consulting firm? Or do you build a scalable SaaS product? Get it wrong and you could waste months, if not years, chasing the wrong path. But get it right and you'll unlock predictable income and exponential growth, like I have done with my company, bringing in $500,000 a month. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to choose, or even better, how to combine these models for maximum success in the year 2025. So let's start by first exploring the product-based approach and its promise of scalability. The SaaS has been the go-to model for software entrepreneurs for years. We've seen the Silicon Valley startups and all the crazy valuations. And with its recurring revenue and potential for scalability, it does seem like the perfect choice. But there's a hidden catch. Scaling is easy in theory, but extremely hard in practice when it comes to a SaaS. Imagine launching a SaaS product to help businesses find and organize leads. You're excited because the recurring revenue model promises that you'll have consistent income on a month-to-month basis. But soon, you realize that the market is saturated. There are hundreds of other software doing exactly the same thing as your software. Competitors are actually racing to undercut your prices, or they release similar features and your churn rate starts eating into your profits. So while you have the pros of SaaS with regards to recurring revenue, you'll have reliable income that scales over time. You have some sort of automation, right? You'll have minimal effort to maintain it once it's built, and you'll have a wide enough reach. A single tool can serve thousands, if not millions of customers. There are a few cons that come with it. First and foremost, the competition is quite fierce because features are very easy to replicate in a SaaS environment. And there's also a very high churn risk. Customers leave if they don't see immediate value. And last but not least, there's a pretty hefty upfront investment that most developers need to make, especially when it comes to marketing costs. So while a SaaS is scalable, it doesn't always deliver the high revenue you need, nor is it quite guaranteed. There's a reason that 9 out of 10 every SaaS startups actually fail. And even now, there's been plenty of SaaS tools that haven't been making any money. So that's where the service business model comes into play. Service-based models offer a completely different appeal. They're very high ticket in nature and they offer personalized value. But scaling this approach, of course, comes with its own challenges. So imagine you're offering, once again, an outreach service. Instead of just selling a tool, you handle everything for your clients. Say you help them find their leads, you help them craft personalized messages, and you manage even the follow-ups with the same exact leads. So the clients love the hands-on approach and the done-for-you type of services, and they'll pay you thousands of dollars for the results if you can actually get them those results. But here's the problem. Your income is directly tied to your time and effort. So scaling means hiring more and more people, managing operations, and dealing with inevitable bottlenecks that a service-based company usually has. So while you have some pros of a service-based business model, such as higher revenue potential with regards to clients paying you more for personalized done-for-you solutions, by high revenue, I mean per client. So you can have, let's say, 10 clients and make $100,000 a month. You can have more customer trust, so less churn, because you can build a relationship with customers and increase loyalty. And you have a clear value structure. Results are pretty easy to measure and demonstrate. But of course, there's some cons that come with a service-based model. First and foremost, it's time intensive. Growth requires more manpower and resources than a SaaS would. And there's also the burnout risk. You're constantly working to maintain results. And of course, there's limited scalability. Revenue grows linearly with your effort, not necessarily exponentially. So how do you solve the scalability problem of services while standing out in the competitive SaaS space? Let me show you how to combine the best of both worlds. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the missing piece. Instead of choosing between product or a service-based model, what if you could combine them? And this hybrid approach actually leverages the scalability of SaaS with the high-ticket revenue of services, creating the ultimate win-win strategy. And this exact strategy has what got my business to 7 figures annually. So let's say, for example's sake, you've built a lead generation software. On its own, you usually charge $500 a month, which works fine for smaller businesses. But here's where the actual magic happens. You offer a high-ticket service that uses your SaaS as the core foundation. For example, you could offer a $5,000 a month outreach service where you use your software to find leads, craft personalized messages, and manage campaigns. Now, I said $5,000. In reality, you could charge maybe $50,000, $100,000 for this. And mix in a little bit of AI to enrich the data that you actually scrape from your own software, and now you have a golden goose. So your SaaS actually anchors the price, making the service over here look premium and justifying its high cost. So here's why the hybrid model works so well. First and foremost, it's very scalable. Your SaaS provides recurring revenue while actually automating core tasks. Second, there's a very good price anchor. You position your SaaS as the affordable option compared to the high-ticket service over here. Last but not least, you have a lot of upsell opportunities. You can use the service to showcase the full potential of your SaaS, turning service clients to long-term partners that you can potentially get commission out of. So here's how you implement this specific strategy. Start with a SaaS that solves a very specific problem. So use your code leverage to solve a specific problem and identify complementary services that your SaaS can enable. You bundle the SaaS with a high-ticket, done-for-you service that offers immediate results. The best part about this model is that you can decide how hybrid your model is. Is it 50-50 or more of a 70-30 split? The more split to a service side that you have, the less polished that your SaaS has to be, and it can pretty much be tailored for strictly internal use, which is what my setup looks like. Our SaaS, only we use it at AB Analytics. Our clients don't see it. But if the split is more to a product side, then you can polish your SaaS and have a proper UI and have a few high-ticket service offerings. So think of HubSpot, Salesforce, and these enterprise-level softwares. They all make the majority of the revenue from the service side upsells, not necessarily the monthly subscription. But even with all that, clients aren't just going to magically fall out of the sky. So you need to watch this video next to learn how to properly acquire your first 5 clients.
Getting your first 5 clients is the hardest and most important milestone in your journey as a software entrepreneur, at least for most people. Why? Well, because those first clients validate your offer, build your confidence, and give you the momentum to actually scale. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step roadmap to identify your ideal clients, use both outbound and inbound strategies effectively to acquire these 5 clients, and close deals with confidence, even if sales might feel intimidating for you. So let's start with the foundations of client acquisition. Imagine you're walking into a crowded room with the best product in the world, but nobody knows you or what you offer. That's what it's like starting a business without a client acquisition strategy. The first step in your journey is awareness, making sure that potential clients know who you are and how you can help them. And here's the truth. If people don't know you exist, even the best solution in the entire world won't sell. So how do you exactly build awareness when you're just starting out and you don't have a big enough network or a lot of money? Well, it comes down to leveraging 2 key methods: outbound and inbound. Outbound is all about proactively reaching out to potential clients, so you reach out to the clients. It's fast and effective, especially when time is critical. And there's a few components to outbound. Warm outreach. So start with your network. Reach out to your friends, family, and any past colleagues who might benefit from your potential solution, or if they know anybody that could benefit from your solution. Then look into what your physical location offers. Any BNI meetings, local Chamber of Commerce events, or other startup events. Then there's cold outreach. For people outside of your network, identify your ideal clients and use tools like email and LinkedIn or whatever other thing to kind of introduce yourself. While outbound gets quick results, it's not the only way to actually attract clients. So let's talk about how inbound marketing can create long-term trust. Inbound marketing focuses on creating value so clients come to you. It takes longer than outbound, but it is incredibly powerful for actually building authority and setting and creating a cash machine. There's a few components to inbound. Content marketing. Share insights, tips, and stories on platforms like LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, or whatever the case. Solve problems in your content just like I am right now. For example, create a YouTube video titled 3 mistakes to avoid when scaling your business with AI automation, if let's say you're doing something with AI. Second thing, referrals. Ask for introductions from happy clients or trusted contacts. So now that we've laid the groundwork with awareness, the next step for us is to craft an offer that speaks directly to your client's needs. Understand that clients don't buy products or services. They buy solutions to their problems. So they're not buying into what you're offering, they're buying out of the problem that they're having, their specific situation. So your offer needs to answer one question. What's in it for them? So let's take a deeper look at how you can craft an offer that actually resonates with people. First and foremost, start by identifying the transformation that your clients will actually experience. So focus on the results. Instead of saying, say, I provide AI automation tools, say, I save small and medium-sized businesses 10 hours a week by automating their operations. Next, you want to quantify your benefits. Numbers make your offer credible. Instead of saying we help companies reduce onboarding time, say we help companies reduce onboarding time by 50%, saving an average of $10,000 annually, let's say. Now that you've crafted a compelling offer, it's time to get in front of potential clients. And this is where outbound and inbound systems actually intersect and come into play. Awareness gets you on the radar, but outreach converts interest into actual action. So think of outbound as planting the seeds and inbound as nurturing the soil. So let's start with a proactive approach. Outbound systems. First and foremost, in any type of outreach that you're going to do, you need to be consistent. Send messages daily, and more volume essentially means more chances. Next thing, you need to personalize stuff. Tailor every single outreach. Use your name, mention specific challenges, show genuine interest, and use Hofstede's cultural dimensions that I talk about to your benefit. Next thing, follow up. Most deals close after 5 to 8 follow-ups, so do not stop too soon. Unless you receive an explicit no or leave me alone, keep following up. Outbound is very powerful for short-term wins, but inbound is what will determine your long-term sustainability. So make sure that your content marketing is on point. Share actionable insights that solve problems, right? Well, be it a LinkedIn post, an X post, or even a YouTube video, let's say on AI, like why most automation tools fail and how to choose the right one. Set up a proper referral system. The golden rule here is simple. Over-deliver for your existing clients, and they'll naturally want to recommend you because that will also increase their authority within their own circle if they recommend them to you, who will over-deliver on whatever it is that you're going to do for them. So next, you need to turn these prospects into paying clients. And this is all about sales. And closing in sales isn't about being pushy. It's actually about helping prospects see your solution as the bridge to their goals. So first and foremost, you need to diagnose. Spend 70% of the call understanding their current challenges. Think of it like a doctor-to-patient relationship. Ask, what's the biggest pain point that's currently holding you back? And then pitch them. Show how your solution solves their very specific problem and achieves the desired outcome that they want. And last but not least, handle objections. Address any concerns like price or timing in a very calm but confident manner. For example, if somebody gives you a pricing objection, I understand that it feels like a big investment, but how much is staying stuck costing your business right now? And then they should do a little bit of thinking and then give you an answer. And last but not least, close. Ask for the commitment confidently. Does this sound like something you'd like to move forward with, or does this sound fair? So to recap, to land your first 5 clients, build awareness with inbound and outbound efforts, create offers focused on results, not features, consistently engage through personalized outreach and follow-ups, and close deals by addressing objections and highlighting the transformation that you specifically deliver. So in general, I recommend choosing one outbound and one inbound method to begin with. And you should do this until you get to about 20 clients, or when you're making at least $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And if you reach out to 20 potential clients with proper outreach tactics, you should close one client. And after you've closed one client, you now need to focus on fulfillment. So you need to ask yourself, how can I make this experience so good that they'll refer me to other people?
If you're watching this, you've probably landed your first client, so congratulations. And if you haven't, well, I'm sure you're on a path to get there. But here's a challenge. How do you deliver exceptional results while managing multiple projects without running yourself into the ground? You see, fulfillment isn't just about completing tasks or meeting deadlines. It's all about creating an experience that impresses your clients, keeps them coming back, and protects your mental and physical well-being. So in this video, I'll guide you step by step on how to deliver results efficiently, exceed expectations, and best of all, avoid burnout. So I want you to imagine trying to juggle multiple client prospects without a clear plan. You'd constantly be scrambling, wasting time, and making costly mistakes. That's why creating systems is critical to your success. The absolute best system that you can start with is building standard operating procedures, known as SOPs. SOPs are detailed, step-by-step instructions for completing very specific tasks or processes. SOPs take the guesswork out of your work, ensuring consistency and quality while freeing up your mental bandwidth. In addition, SOPs allow you to actually delegate the task with ease in case you need to hire somebody. But to create effective SOPs, you need to start by identifying repetitive tasks in your specific business. So these could include onboarding clients, creating any reports, or just simply delivering updates. Once you've pinpointed these repeatable tasks, break them down into simple, actionable steps. For instance, an SOP for client onboarding might outline steps like sending a welcome email, gathering any necessary documents from them, NDAs or whatever they need to sign, and scheduling an initial meeting. You can use tools like Notion or Google Docs to kind of document these procedures in an accessible way. And automate wherever possible by integrating tools like Zapier or Slack to kind of handle any routine steps, such as maybe you need to send out a follow-up email or just you need to notify a client of any project updates. Finally, you need to remember that your SOPs should evolve as your business actually grows. So review and update them regularly. And with SOPs in place, you've pretty much freed yourself from any constant figuring out how to get things done. Now, your focus should shift to not just meeting expectations, but actually exceeding them. So exceeding client expectations doesn't necessarily mean working overtime or taking on any additional responsibilities. It's actually all about being thoughtful and proactive. So the first step is setting clear expectations early on in your relationship with your client. So during onboarding, define what the client can expect in terms of deliverables, timelines, and communication frequency. The clearer you are, the more reliable you will appear to your client. And the way you will actually exceed expectations is by delivering certain results early. So to tell you a story, a few months ago, we worked with a small tech startup that needed a marketing campaign launched in time for a conference. And for them, I pretty much promised a 3-week turnaround. But since I had optimized my SOPs and I focused on key deliverables, I knew that I could potentially finish it within 2 weeks. And that's exactly what I did. I finished the campaign assets in just 2 weeks. When I sent everything over early, their CEO was extremely happy to see that. They had extra time to actually fine-tune the strategy and promote it at their booth. And they even had some time for feedback from me. And this simple act of delivering 1 week ahead not only impressed the client, but also helped them achieve a much bigger impact at the conference because now they were a lot more prepared. So even finishing a project a day ahead of schedule leaves a lasting impression. I also love to include small personalized touches like sending a thank you note or sharing an update on progress that oftentimes just elevates the client experience. And last but not least, how to be proactive in problem solving. So you need to be able to anticipate potential challenges and address them before the client actually notices or even brings them up themselves. For example, if you foresee a delay in, let's say, delivering a specific feature, you know you're not going to meet the timeline, notify the client in advance and propose a revised timeline. This level of proactivity actually builds trust and confidence in you. And understanding your client's values is extremely critical to delivering exceptional results. So use Hofstede's cultural dimensions to provide a framework for doing this very effectively. Because different cultures will have different expectations about communications, timelines, and even what they define as success. And Hofstede's model will essentially just include several dimensions that can guide you in tailoring your approach to your clients, be it from various cultural backgrounds. Specifically, for example, the first dimension is power distance, which measures how much a culture values hierarchy and authority. And in high power distance cultures, like many in Asia, clients expect formality and clear hierarchies. On the other hand, in low power distance cultures, such as the US or Scandinavian countries, clients prefer a more casual, collaborative approach. So adapting your tone and communication style to kind of fit these type of preferences can make a very huge difference in how you're perceived. And the second dimension that I kind of tend to use a lot is individualism versus collectivism. So in individualistic cultures like the US, or even the UK actually, clients often prioritize personal achievements and individual success over the company as a whole. And in collectivist cultures like Japan or India, clients value group harmony and shared goals. So knowing this, you can frame your results either as an individual win, depending on where they're from, or as a team contribution, depending, of course, on cultural orientation. And actually, another dimension that's quite important is uncertainty avoidance, which pretty much reflects how much a culture is comfortable with ambiguity. So in high uncertainty avoidance cultures, such as Germany and Japan, clients prefer detailed plans and risk mitigating strategies. In contrast, clients from low uncertainty avoidance cultures, like primarily Australia or the US, they may be more open to flexibility and just experimentation in general. So once again, you need to tailor your fulfillment process and all your communication to match their level of comfort with uncertainty. And finally, consider time orientation. So in short-term oriented cultures, like the US, for example, clients often focus on immediate snappy results and very quick wins. For example, I remember one time I pitched a social media campaign idea to a US-based retail client who was gearing up for a major holiday sale. And rather than just waiting for a comprehensive 6-month plan, they were so eager for an immediate boost to sales that I basically had to pivot. And I had to pivot to a short-term Facebook ad blitz and pretty much highlight all the quick metrics, like 48-hour conversion window and so on and so forth. And we ended up driving 30% increase in their holiday sales. So this rapid success built trust and set the stage for a more ambitious long-term project down the road. And in long-term oriented cultures, like let's say South Korea or China, you need to prioritize sustained results and strategic planning, because understanding these specific cultural nuances will help you actually communicate effectively, build trust, and deliver results that quite resonate with these people. But even with strong systems and cultural awareness, managing client work can still be extremely draining. So to avoid burnout, you need to manage your energy as carefully as you manage your time. Because we don't have a time problem, we have an energy problem. So start by using time blocking techniques to schedule focused work periods for client projects and separate blocks for administrative tasks. And communicate your working hours clearly to clients to avoid being overwhelmed by any late night emails or any last minute requests unless it is critical. And when your workload becomes too heavy, you need to delegate routine tasks to actually free up your time for higher impact work. So take regular breaks to recharge your focus. Even a quick short walk can improve your productivity and creativity, which I go on a lot, pretty much almost every single night. And at the end of each week, you need to reflect on what worked and what didn't. And pretty much whatever didn't work, you need to boot that out of your system, right? And adjust the schedule as needed. So protecting your energy ensures that you can consistently deliver high quality results without necessarily sacrificing your well-being. And keep in mind, this doesn't just benefit you. It also enhances the experience for your clients as well, who appreciate that you are focused and professional. So understand this, fulfillment isn't necessarily just about completing tasks. It's all about building a system that works for you and your clients. So to deliver results without burnout, you need to start by creating SOPs that streamline your workflow and eliminate any unnecessary stress. And go beyond expectations by being proactive and thoughtful, and use Hofstede's cultural dimensions to actually understand your clients and what they value and tailor your approach accordingly to them. And last but not least, set boundaries and prioritize your well-being to actually ensure that you can sustain your efforts over the long period of time, because business is a marathon and not a race. So what I want you to do is take one process in your business and create an SOP for it this week. And next time you reach out to a client, ask them, what's one thing I could do to improve this project and make it smoother for you? And by taking these small steps every now and then, it'll set you up for sustainable success over a long period of time. But even with all that info, if you want to learn exactly how to design processes that grow with your business and how to have proper automations such that you can automate all repetitive tasks and ensure consistency across every single project, then you need to watch this video next. As always, thank you for watching and have a good one. Scalable operations are the foundation of every successful software business, because without them, growth will lead to chaos, missed deadlines, and unhappy clients. But with the right systems in place, you can actually run your business efficiently and prepare for the future, just like I did with my company, AB Analytics. In the beginning of it, I was pretty much constantly creating custom solutions for every single new client, making it impossible to take on more than one client at a time, until I learned how to create processes that adapt as your business grows, the tools and techniques needed to actually automate any repetitive tasks, and how to ensure quality and consistency as you scale and onboard more and more clients. So let's start by first understanding why scalable operations matter and how to lay the actual groundwork. I want you to imagine trying to double your client base without changing how you work. You'd probably end up pretty stretched thin, your quality would most likely suffer, and you'd risk losing clients as fast as you gain them. Because I went through this, and let me tell you, it is not fun. Scalable operations allow you to handle this growth systematically, ensuring that you're actually prepared to manage any increased demand without necessarily sacrificing efficiency or client satisfaction. And scalability starts with one simple principle. Your business should run like a machine. Every part of your operation, from the client onboarding to the project delivery, should follow a defined process. The goal is to minimize the reliance on you being the bottleneck, such that your team, tools, and systems can do the heavy lifting for you. But how do you exactly get there? Well, it all begins with mapping out your operations. So start by identifying the core workflows in your business. These include any client onboarding, software development, project management, or even just tech support in general. For each workflow, you need to ask yourself, okay, what are the key steps involved? Who is responsible for each specific step, and what tools or resources are needed to complete each step? For example, let's say you're onboarding a new client. The process might include maybe sending a welcome email with next steps, potentially scheduling an onboarding call, and gathering any necessary files or access credentials to draft up a requirements document. And then you would, set up the client in your project management tool, maybe deliver a project timeline or like a roadmap, and you would need to document each of these steps in detail using a tool like Notion or Google Docs, just Word in general. And actually early on in A/B analytics, I vividly remember that when we landed a new client who was actually eager to get started, our team didn't have standardized operating processes documented. So in the very beginning, we ended up scrambling to gather information at the very last minute. And I remember we missed a lot of critical information that we needed to deliver on. And over time, the entire project would end up being behind schedule. It would put a dent in our credibility. But of course, we learned from our mistakes. And from that moment on, we just committed to documenting every single step, from the initial welcome email down to the final sign off, in a single Google document that everybody can kind of take a look at and understand where the SOPs are. And this quick change pretty much saved us from any future slip-ups and allowed us to actually process seamlessly and accept more clients that came. So what we just talked about was your standard operating procedures. You might have already heard about them from the previous video when I talked about the fulfillment, but once again, SOPs are essential for creating repeatable, scalable workflows. And a good SOP doesn't just describe what to do. It actually ensures consistency and reduces errors over time. So here's how to create an effective SOP. You need to be specific, okay? Break down each step into actionable, clear instructions, and include any visuals if you can. Use screenshots, videos, or flowcharts to make your SOPs easy to follow and easy to read. And then you want to test and refine them. Ask your team or test it yourself to identify any gaps or any inefficiencies that you might see. And then organize and share it. Store your SOPs in a central, easily accessible location such that your team at any time can use them. For example, your client onboarding SOP might look something like this. Send a pre-written welcome email template, maybe use Calendly to schedule an onboarding call, update the client's profile in your CRM tool, right? Whatever you're using, be it HubSpot, let's say, and create a task in your project management tool with all the relevant detail. Understand that SOPs don't just save time. They literally empower your team to actually take ownership, reducing your own workload as a business owner so that you can put it on higher ROI activities. And once your workflows are mapped and your SOPs are in place, it's now time for automation. So automation reduces manual work, minimizes errors, and frees up your time to focus on, once again, high-value activities. So you need to start with these key areas. Client communication. So use tools like Zapier to send automated welcome emails, any appointment confirmations, or any type of project updates. Project management. Set up recurring tasks or project templates in tools like Asana, Trello if you've used it, or maybe even Monday.com. Billing and payment. Use platforms like Stripe or QuickBooks or PayPal, whatever the case, to automate invoicing and payment reminders. Data entry. Automate repetitive tasks like transferring client information between platforms using tools like Zapier or Make.com for automations. Keep in mind that automations don't just replace personal interaction, they actually enhance it. By automating repetitive tasks, you'll have more time to actually build out a personalized relationship and focus on delivering higher quality work. But here's how you can actually ensure consistency in every single project that you do. First and foremost, have quality checkpoints. So build quality assurance checks into your existing workflows. For example, before delivering a project, assign a team member to actually review the final output against client requirements. Set up feedback loops. Regularly gather feedback from clients to identify areas for improvement. Use tools like Typeform or Google Forms for just quick surveys that you can ask people about. Ongoing training. Train your team on SOWs, best practices, and updates to your existing processes. And keep in mind, consistency isn't just doing the same thing over and over again. It's actually about meeting or exceeding client expectations consistently. So scaling your operations isn't just about tools and processes, it's about teamwork. Use your strategies to keep your team aligned and productive. Have daily stand-ups, hold short daily meetings to discuss priorities and address any roadblocks. Have a centralized communication system. Use platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams to actually streamline all communication. Or maybe even WhatsApp. I also use WhatsApp. Have project dashboards, so share any progress updates in real time using tools like Notion or even Airtable. If you're familiar with AI and stuff, you can even customize some cool stuff on there. But keep in mind that strong collaboration actually ensures that every single person knows what's happening. It reduces confusion and delays. And last but not least, scalable operations aren't static. I mean, they evolve with your business. As you grow, revisit your past workflows, tools, and SOPs regularly to ensure that they still meet your needs. So think about scalability in terms of capacity. Can your current process handle double or triple the existing workload? Team growth. Do you have the systems in place to onboard new team members very quickly? How soon can you train them? Client experience. Are your clients still receiving a high quality, seamless experience as you scale? So planning ahead actually ensures that your operations won't just keep up with growth, they'll actually deliver it. And I want to leave this off by saying that scalable operations are legit the backbone of every successful software business that I've seen. By mapping out your workflows, creating SOPs, automating repetitive tasks, and fostering collaboration, you'll set your business up to handle growth without any chaos or burnt out. So you need to start by mapping out one key workflow in your business this week. Then create an SOP for it and identify one task that you can potentially automate. And with these steps, you'll be on your way to build a business that actually scales with ease and keeps clients happy along the way, alongside keeping your team happy, because each person now has their own specific role that they need to do. As always, thank you for watching and have a good one.